multiplying and dividing sigfigs have their own set of rules as opposed to addition and subtraction. For multiplying and dividing, we don't need to pay attention to decimal places, we just count the number of sigfigs. So for example, if we have 50 with a decimal place times 2, what we should first do is just do the multiplication as is. So 50 times 2 is obviously 100. Alright, now I'll put a decimal place there just so that we know that that is 100 point. Now we must count our sigfigs. For 50 point, the 5 is significant because it's a number 1 through 9, and the 0 is significant because there's a decimal place. So 50 has 2 sigfigs, while 2 only has 1. For our answer when we're multiplying and dividing, it has to have the same amount of sigfigs as our smallest number. Alright. So here, our smallest number has 1 sigfig. Alright. So that is the smallest amount of sigfigs that we were given. So our answer has to have only 1 significant digit. And in order to have 100 just be 1 significant digit, all you have to do is get rid of the decimal place. Because these decimal places aren't here, the zeros don't count, and therefore the only significant digit is 1. Now for dividing, the same rules apply. So, for this problem, we have 75 divided by 0.5. Now 75 very clearly has 2 significant digits, while 0.5 only has 1. So our answer can only have 1 significant digit because 1 is smaller than 2. If we were to do this problem normally, and we were to do 75 divided by 0.5, right, we would get 150. Notice that dividing by 0.5 is the same as multiplying by 2. So 75 divided by 0.5 gives us 150. However, you'll notice that we have 2 sigfigs here. The 0 is not significant because there's no decimal place. So in order to get 150 to equal 1 sigfig, right, it has to be rounded up so that we get 200. Right. The reason this is 200 is because this 5 rounds up. This leaves only 2 to be significant, while these zeros are not. So here we only have 1 significant digit. So that is our answer. Okay, I want to run through just one more problem. Right. What if we have 200 and we multiply by 11? Normally, if we did this multiplication, 200 times 11 will give us 2,200. But first we have to count our sigfigs. In 200, only the 2 is significant. These zeros don't follow a decimal place, so they're not significant. So, 200 only gives us one significant digit, while 11 gives us 2. Both of these ones are significant because they're whole numbers that are not zeros. So we have 2 sigfigs here. For our answer, we have to take the least amount of sigfigs, which ends up giving us 1. So we have to make sure that 2,200 gives us one significant digit. And in order to do that, I have to round down. Since 2 is lower than 5, all we have to do is convert that 2 to a 0, and we're left with 2,000. Notice I don't put a decimal place because that would give us 4 sigfigs instead of 1.